pull-off cap if I can pull this off. Ugh. Hi everyone, I am very happy to bring you another drugstore foundation review, this time for CoverGirl's new Outlast foundation. This is the Extreme Wear 3-in-1 foundation. So I'm going to show you how this applies. I'm going to wear it throughout the day. We're going to go over the claims and we'll see and test if those claims actually hold up after at least a full day of testing and application. So if that interests you and you want to know if this is worth the money, then make sure you keep watching. Thank you so much for subscribing and following over on Instagram. We did just finish up 2 major giveaways, one on the YouTube channel and one on the Instagram, Instagram page, I guess. So make sure you're following and subscribe to both. Make sure you also check out the latest video, which was a swatch, including lip swatches and review of these brand new L'Oreal nude lipstick line. And I am wearing one of the shades on my lips today, and that is the shade 173 Impertinent. I love this shade, and the formula on this is super comfortable. So if you're at all interested in kind of nude, very comfortable feeling lipsticks, then make sure you go check out the swatches for that. This sweater, which I also love, these long, super comfortable kind of almost half mock turtleneck type of neckline. I just love this sweater, and I got it from Amazon. So I'll link that in the description box for you. I can't link you my ring or my earrings, but I can link you what I'm wearing on for my sweater and the L'Oreal lipsticks. Oh, I can also link you my nail polish color, which I am also in love with. So I will tell you what shade that is and where you can find it if it's still available in the description box, which I think it is. I think I might actually do a video showing you my Amazon finds that are actually good. Amazon is like a landmine full of bad products that somehow get decent reviews, but once you get them, you're thinking, oh, what the heck? So if you're interested in that, a bunch of clothing that is actually good from Amazon, then let me know if you'd be interested in watching that. So let's talk about the product and the claims and the pricing. Right now, the place that it seems to be that you can actually purchase this is Walmart. Again, in the description box, I'll link to where you can actually find it to purchase online. And if it's available at multiple locations, I will always link you the most affordable place to find it. I'm sure eventually it will be more widely available at your local drugstore or places like Target also, but because it's a really brand new launch, it isn't just widely available quite yet. So it's called the CoverGirl Outlast Extreme Wear 3-in-1 Foundation. It says it's 24-hour full coverage SPF 18, and on Walmart it retails for $10.49. For that price, you get 1 fluid ounce or 30 milliliters. Looks like it's available in over 20 shades, a decent shade range, nothing fantastic, could definitely use with some more truly deep shades. This comes in a glass bottle and has a pull-off cap, if I can pull this off. Pump dispenser, which is really great. The shade that I picked up for testing is 805 Ivory. Now, in terms of why this is a new formulation and what it claims to do, CoverGirl says, speed up your beauty routine with a long-lasting foundation, primer, and concealer all in one. Whether you dab on a little or a lot, this foundation is sure to be your go-to when it comes to providing the naturally flawless full coverage finish you crave. The lightweight, cake-free foundation has a 24-hour formula that blends seamlessly, covers imperfections, and is available in a variety of shades. Helping defend your skin against the elements, the hydrating, breathable foundation contains SPF 18 sunscreen and is sweat transfer and humidity proof. Apply the face makeup using your fingertips, a foundation brush, or makeup sponge. Okay, so lots of different claims, but notably it's supposed to be comfortable and lightweight while also giving you seamless yet full coverage, not supposed to cake on you. Primer, concealer, and foundation all in one, so it's supposed to be high coverage. The SPF 18, also supposed to be sweat and humidity proof. That's gonna be hard for me to test because it's very cold. It's in the middle of winter right now. We'll see what I can tell you about that claim. Lasts for 24 hours. I'm never gonna test that. You should never be wearing your foundation for 24 hours or any sort of makeup for that long. And this is a cruelty-free product. Before we start applying, let's take a look at the ingredients. Not only because you should always look at ingredients on stuff you put on your skin, but also because it does claim to have an SPF of 18. First of all, SPF of 18 is nowhere near anything that you should look at as sufficient for sun protection. Even if you're just staying indoors all day and having very little exposure to sunlight, you should use a minimum of SPF 30. And then if you are going outside for any notable amount of time, you should use at least SPF 50. The SPF 18 is nice to have, but only if you are also using your normal sunscreen, just as a teeny tiny little reinforcement or booster on top of your normal sunscreen. But even if it were higher than SPF 18, when you look at the ingredient that gives you that sun protection, it's octinoxate. And while this is a great sun protecting ingredient, it does primarily protect your skin against UVB rays or the burning rays. It doesn't have a full range protection against UVA rays or the rays that will age your skin. So that's just another reason why you should absolutely not consider this foundation to give you any noticeable level of sun protection. Now, beyond that, when you look at the ingredients, I do see the presence of some ingredients that will help at least temporarily mattify and smooth. Things like perhaps talc or the dimethicone, good skincare ingredients, although perhaps not a huge presence of them. The thing that concerns me most is the presence of denatured alcohol. And it's not just the last ingredient, it is in sort of the middle of the ingredients list. I would probably say beyond halfway, but the place in the list of ingredients that this denatured alcohol appears in does concern me. This type of alcohol can definitely be drying on the skin and pose further irritation. So that is not an ingredient that normally I would choose to have in my foundation, and I would avoid, normally speaking, just for my everyday life, wearing and purchasing a foundation that has denatured alcohol in it. I'm sure that it does help contribute to that at least initial mattifying effect because it does help to dry out the skin, and I'm sure that that's part of the extreme wear claim that they are putting with this foundation, but I would definitely prefer to not have a formula that has that denatured alcohol in it. All right, let's get to applying this, seeing how it looks on the skin, and testing out how well it works. So at least for the first half, I'll see how this applies with a flat kabuki style brush, synthetic bristles. I have no idea what brand this is from, so couldn't tell you. And I'll say right away, as soon as I open the package, this is shade 805 Ivory. I feel at this point, if you've watched this is the third time in a row where I've struck out with shade matching with drugstore level foundations. I'll link the other two videos for you if you want to go check those out. I feel like a broken record at this point, but with drugstore level foundations, I don't know what it is about the swatches and images that they put up on the website. They are so inaccurate. And it's not for lack of really trying and really researching and trying to find a good match. It's been, look at this, and then I want you to see this shade, and then I'll try to put up here the comparison of the color. They don't match at all, but at least it's winter time right now, and hopefully, you know, the paleness, with something being too light, I can at least bronze it up. You know, if I get something that's way too dark, there's really no way to correct that. So glass bottle, pump dispenser. Ooh, oh, you have to twist it so it even locks. That's really nice, very nice packaging. Okay, so I'm gonna start with sort of a 3/4 pump. Spreads out really nicely. Okay, and actually it is too pale for me, but it's not as stark as I feared it might be just looking in the bottle. Again, thankfully due to, in part, the fact that there's really been no sun lately and I am pale. I don't regularly self-tan or do anything like that, so. Usually I'm an NC 20 to 25 in MAC foundations. And usually in a foundation range, obviously it depends on how extensive the range is, but I'm in the light category, sort of on the, usually the fair side of whatever the light range is, and I have yellowish undertones. And this one is, I think, at least the 3rd or 4th shade in terms of depth in the range. I feel like actually, strangely, around my eyes, there seems to be a little bit of texture created. I've never experienced that area creating texture before. Usually it's texture around my nose and then this mustache area. And there is a little bit of that, but you'd have to look up close to detect it. I do have a dry patch here. That was there before I tested this foundation, so it is not something that the foundation has created, but it certainly hasn't helped smooth that out. Okay, on this side, I don't know that I really want to apply it with my hands. I'm going to try it with a sponge, and I don't like to completely soak my sponges when on occasion. I don't regularly, but on occasion when I use them. So I do spritz it and hydrate it with, this is a mixture of glycerin and water. So that's the way I use sponges when I use them. It's looking a lot more smooth at this point. I'm also looking quite ghostly, which has become a familiar experience in these foundation testing videos when it comes to drugstore foundations. Are there any other foundations that you, or even just products that you want me to do wear tests on? Let me know in the comments below. I'm happy to do them if there's a good showing of interest. And just to let you know, underneath, I don't have any sort of primer when I test these out. I don't add any primer. I just do my regular skincare, which consists of my toner, moisturizer, and sunscreen, because I wear sunscreen every single day, no matter rain or shine. Okay, so this is definitely more smooth in finish and texture. I like the smoothness a lot more that I got with this sponge. This is one from Kaleidos. Super, super soft. Now I kind of avoid the under eye area. I leave that open for concealer. So compared to the brush side, where there was a little bit of texture around this temple area, on the sponge side, I don't feel like there's any extra texture created. There is still a little bit of texture here next to the fold, next to the nose there, but especially around the mouth, hopefully you can see the difference. This side is a lot smoother around the pores that are around the mouth here compared to the brush side. But overall, I like the finish of this foundation. It is slightly mattifying, but you can still see a little bit of my own natural radiance coming through. I guess I shouldn't say I claim that I have my own radiance, but you know, my natural glow, if you will. So it's not completely flat. You can see that I have these kind of blemishes at the top of the forehead. So to test the coverage, really, I'm gonna put a little bit on the sponge and I'm gonna concentrate it on those, see what coverage level we can get. So, I mean, I would say kind of medium coverage. It's definitely not light or sheer coverage at all. I would say it's definitely strong, medium coverage here, but I don't know if it really layers that much. And I feel like in the areas where I am trying to layer it creates a bit of texture. Okay, so here's a final close-up look. I want to show you the finish and any texture creation up close, pretty smooth on the upper half of the face. Again, ignore the area around the eyes where I avoid putting foundation usually. And on the lower half, especially around the mouth here. So pretty smooth everywhere. The only place where there's any sort of noticeable texture is on the top of my nose where I have, you know, a bit of, you know, blemishes or dry skin already. But then in particular, this around the nose area, these dry spots are pretty emphasized. Of course, the very pale nature of this particular shade that doesn't quite match my own skin can emphasize that a little more too, but even if it were perfectly shade matched, that texture would still be there underneath this foundation. Other than that, I like the feel of the foundation. It doesn't feel heavy or thick on my skin. It feels quite lightweight. I like the finish and the nature of the mattifying effect without it making the skin look too flat. My chair is very squeaky. I need to invest in a new chair, but yeah, I like the coverage level. Doesn't look like a mask too much while still giving you coverage. So overall, initially on application, pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my makeup, and I'll check back in with you to let you see how it looks, especially after being powdered. I am actually simultaneously gonna do a review and test out this product. This is the CoverGirl Simply Ageless Instant Wrinkle Blurring Pressed Powder. It's their newest powder that they have. So if you want to see the review on how this holds up too, then make sure you go check out that video when it goes up shortly after this one. All right, so here's what the skin and foundation look like after completing makeup. I applied powder. Definitely go check out the review for this because I was surprised by what happened when I tested this out. But after powdering, after applying color makeup on the face. So any new thoughts after powdering? Not really. There's definitely this emphasis of these dry patches. And yes, they were already kind of dry or flaky before, but they are definitely emphasized by the application of foundation. My normal everyday foundation, I feel like, doesn't emphasize this as much as this foundation is, but for the rest of the area of the face, quite smooth, slightly mattifying. So again, fairly good marks so far. I will show you some things up close so you can see a little bit of texture where those blemishes are. Not that surprising. Here's what I mean in terms of the texture around the nose here, but otherwise pretty good. No major emphasis of the pores here or of this mustache area where I have these bunch of pores, and everywhere else very, very, very smooth. So I will check back in with you if there's any notable updates after a few hours, and then definitely at the end of the day after about 8 hours or more of wearing. Oh, and this is what the foundation looks like in natural lighting. The window is on the other side of the room, so it's not harsh direct light, but it is, at least right now, sunny outside. So hopefully you can just get an idea of what the finish looks like up close. All right, see you in a few hours. All right, I'm back. This is about 3 or 4 hours later. I've been wearing a mask, doing some light eating and drinking. So the overall shininess has definitely developed more, but overall it's held up well. And actually it's held up really well with the taking on and off of the mask. Just a little bit of fading where the mask is, but otherwise, don't think you'd be able to tell. So here is what the foundation looks like up close. So you can see that increased shine coming through, a little bit of texture in the center of the face, but otherwise it's holding up well. All right, I'll check in with you at the end of the day. All right, so we are here at the end of the day. It has been 8 hours now since I have applied the foundation. And on the positives, I think the coverage is good without looking too mask-like. The finish is fairly smooth, although I will say now that it's at the end of the day, I do feel like there has been more texture that has developed. I've avoided really blotting throughout the day so you could see how shiny I am at the end of the day. I do think there is a little bit of mitigation of my natural oiliness or shininess, but I wouldn't say that it's a significant decreasing of the shine or a long-term decreasing of the shine. I did eat dinner and I've been drinking, so there is some fading around the mouth area, but I also feel like at the top of the forehead, definitely around the nose area, and even a bit on the temples and cheeks, like just everywhere. I do feel like there has been, it doesn't look as smooth as it looked at the beginning at application or even at the 3-ish hour mark. So in addition to the shininess, there's the sort of texture at the dry spots at the top. And then I guess with the movement of my mouth, with eating and stuff, there's definitely more splotchiness and a lot less smoothness in the nose area and around the mouth area. And you can see underneath there too. Then even in like this temple area here and around the brows and over here, ignore this part, this is where I put concealer, but I do feel like there's just a little bit more texture there than I noticed before. It held up more than decently well with mask wearing. But I think overall, especially since it's not a remarkably affordable price for a drugstore foundation, I think that my overall thoughts are slightly better than lukewarm. I certainly think it's a good foundation, but at the price point, I would definitely not want the alcohol that's included in the foundation. And I also have a strong suspicion that the alcohol has, at least in part, contributed to the perhaps less than smooth look and the exacerbation of these dry spots on my face. Yeah, so I really don't like that about the foundation. I also don't give much credit for the SPF 18, not only, like I said, because it's such a low SPF, but also because it's not full spectrum. So it's not full spectrum level 18 if you truly put enough foundation to get that 18, which you won't be, most likely. Oh, the whole waterproof extreme wear thing. Let's go ahead. I'm going to put some on the back of my hand and I'll spritz some water on top of it just to see how much kind of repelling surface we get or repelling reaction we get. So I've just blended it in with my finger there. I'm going to spritz back of my hand. Now that's a good amount of water. You can definitely see some repelling there on the surface. Yeah, I think it does. I think it does have a repelling quality. I'm not putting a lot of pressure. I'm just really kind of lightly moving my finger across the surface. There is a little bit of transfer on there, so it's not like it's completely transfer proof or sweat proof, but I would agree that it's gonna hold up fairly well even if you are kind of sweating, so maybe a better foundation for the summertime. But I think about things like the photo focus from Wet n Wild, is that what that's called? Which is, you know, noticeably less in terms of the dollar amount that you would pay for, and has also a beautiful finish and nice coverage. So yeah, I feel like I would give this a B, maybe a B- overall, given the problematic alcohol, denatured alcohol included in here. And after even just 8 hours, I mean, it's claiming to last for 24 hours, but then even after, you know, 6, 7, 8 hours, it looks less than, you know, flawless on the skin. All right, those are my thoughts on the CoverGirl Extreme Wear Foundation. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, especially if you've already tested out and been wearing this foundation. What has your experience been? A lot of people with different kinds of skin types, different ages, will have different experiences with the exact same formulation. So let all of us know what your experience has been, either positive, negative, or both. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. Please give the video a thumbs up if you have a couple seconds and you like the video. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you in the next one.